welcome to April's home box design class. I'm Marisa, as you already know. This here is what we're going to be making today. A beautiful vegetative type design. We're going to concentrate on like some rhythm, pattern, repetition type things. So let's go through what'll be in your box. You'll have a wooden box like so and some foam. I wanted to quickly talk about soaking your foam because I'm not sure if I've done that before. So when you soak your foam, your piece will be cut exactly what it needs to be. So you need to fill up your water or your sink with like lukewarm type water. I mean, cold is fine, but not hot. And then set your brick of foam on top of the water. Don't do anything. Don't push it down, nothing. It'll only take a few minutes, but it will soak up by itself. If you happen to push it down, there will be a hole like in the middle that's not saturated, and then your flowers are not going to get water. So I just wanted to make sure everyone understood that. Also in your box, you will have one aspidistra leaf. You should have 3 stems of pussy willow, very springy. 2 roses, probably the free spirit type. Those are my favorite. You will have 3 iris. This happens to have 1 open and 2 closed. We'll talk about that when we get there. 3 tulips. They might be assorted colors, but they'll all be the same. 2 stems of trick dianthus. Looks like grass, isn't that awesome? And then you'll have a little bit of a foliage. It should be something like this or very close. So, how we're gonna start today is, we wanna cover our foam and our mechanics. So, I like to use my knife, but y'all have your clippers. We're gonna cut it pretty short. And what we're gonna do, see how I flipped it over so the back is up? I'm gonna just put it in the side like that and fold it over. And this is just gonna help cover a lot of our foam so that we don't need to have a lot of greenage or foliage and greening in. It'll just help. So as you can see, for the most part, it there has covered our foam. My table's moving. All right, so I'm gonna design backwards a bit for you guys, remember that. We're gonna start with our iris. And we're gonna start with them because I like them. A lot of what we're gonna be doing today, as you can see here, is like making a pattern of 2s or 3s, and that's also called repetition, taking the same pattern and repeating it. So it's all sort of like stair stepping, so you'll have like 1, 2, 3. So every flower gets its own space, its own room to shine, but yet they're together so that they make a pattern and a bolder impact. So the other thing to remember is we're gonna be poking through our leaf here. So when you cut, try to cut on an angle because that will help. Or if you have to, just, poke something in there like the end of your pussy willow stem or something just to make a little crack in it, and that will help too. So this very first one we're gonna do is we're gonna cut it very short. Now, I chose my one that's most open because when they're stair stepping and you think about it, visual weight and such, we want towards the bottom so it doesn't look top heavy. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it in the middle of my box, but towards the front. See where I'm inserting it here? Now you're gonna have to hold both hands because there can be see, I did that already. I'm gonna have to cut it shorter, which is okay. This is totally okay because they're very delicate and we do want this as close as we can get. There, okay? Make sense? So now we're gonna go up. If you want your iris to open a little bit more, I'll show you a trick how to do that, but they will open on their own also. So when you're looking at your iris here, see it, there's these 2 green pieces, and all I did was loosen them a little, and all that's gonna do is give your iris a little bit of more room. And you can sort of see that if you gently, gently tap it, it's sort of already starting to unravel. So now we're gonna cut this one. And remember, it's okay to cut and look, and if you have to cut it shorter, that's fine, but you can never make it longer. So now we're gonna go in behind our lowest iris I'm gonna make a little cut because the iris stems are pretty delicate. And I'm gonna just put it right down in there. So see, I want this bloom to have its own space and then this bloom. So now when we put this tallest one in, as you can see, I'm gonna try to get it like up here. So same thing. There we go. There. So this is our first pattern that we're starting with. 1, 2, 3, stair stepping it down. All right. From here, we are going to do our trick dianthus, okay? This is the only flower that's not going to be grouped necessarily. And the whole reason for this is to help cover our mechanics still. So we're gonna put one in each corner, okay? So we're gonna cut it pretty short. And we're gonna put one up here in this corner. And see how I pushed it like all the way down? And then we're gonna do the other side over here. Got my stem, I'm poking it in, and it's definitely going all the way down, okay? That's just helping to cover our mechanics a little bit more while we get going. Let's do our tulips next. I'm gonna have to switch my box to me a minute, but I'll show you in a second, okay? So here's our tulips, and just sort of look at them and see, like I see this is the straightest. I think I'm gonna put them like this. So it's nice sometimes to sort of look and see the flowers talking to you and telling you which way to go. And we're going to do this the same pattern, 1, 2, 3, give or take. And we're gonna do it behind this trick dianthus. So this is my smallest one right here, or shortest. And see how it's sort of bending? And when you push these in, remember, be very delicate. These are delicate stems. They're like from the bulb plant, so they're pretty, I don't know what word to use, but like juicy, so be very careful. So here's our next one. I'm gonna try to cut it below that leaf because I really like the leaf, and see if we can get it to go in, which we will. It's just gonna be how far. Now I want my tulips to sort of face the same way. As we know in tulips, there we go, they are gonna change. They're gonna go crazy. When this is sitting next to the window and the sun's over there, they're probably gonna turn. And that's okay, that's what they do. So let's get our third one here. Again, right together. And 1, 2, 3, just like that. So we have our line here, and now we've created a pattern, and we're gonna repeat it again. This time, we're gonna move to our Free Spirit Beautiful Roses. There's only 2 of them, but they're big and beautiful, and the color is striking, so we should be fine. The first one, what we're gonna do is it's gonna be in front of this trick dianthus, but all the way to the front. And now I am going straight down, but a little bit on an angle. So watch the flower head as you're pushing it in so that you can see like where you want it to land. So like when it's halfway down, if you have to turn it, the trajectory of the stem, that is fine. And now this one's gonna be a little bit longer, and we are gonna go behind this rose and a little bit towards the middle. So let me show you. Again, I'm watching the head, and I want this to almost rest right on top of this one because that's a great color impact. All right, so let's see if I can tip this here. Can you see how we have the rose, and then it's right back there. We have our stems of our iris and our tulips. All right, let's move on to our pussy willow. I love this. This says springtime so much. We are gonna put this right here between our iris and our tulips. So we want this to be the highest point. So we're sort of gonna measure, and I'm gonna put it in here. And I'm gonna put it almost parallel, I guess, with this iris as for where the stem goes. And I'm just gonna push it straight in. Now, these 3 groups have looked towards the front, and we've stair-stepped them down. Just for a little bit of difference, we're gonna do this, but we're sort of gonna come back and front. So we're gonna creative cut. Remember how we do that? I'm gonna cut this like right here. Can you see that? You see, I'm sorry. So that I'm gonna have two pieces. So I'm cutting, taking this one, and I'm gonna come behind. There, see that? And then I'm gonna take this one, keep it a little long, and I'm coming back here also. I'll show you, turn around here. So it's my same type, but I'm going backwards, partially to give it some weight visually back there, and also for depth and interest. So now I have this little itty bitty piece I'm just gonna cut. And to continue my line, I'm gonna just sort of bring it up front here. So now it's just creating more depth to the back. And now this has created repetition with our patterns. We learned all that. So the only thing left is we have here some foam that we need to cover. You don't need to cover the aspidistra leaf because that's why we used it, to cover up the foam and to give us interest so we aren't totally filled with all the foliage down there. So you only have a few pieces. So here's one. You know yours will all be a little bit different. So this goes back to, again, creative cutting. I'm gonna go 1 and 2, and now I have 3 pieces out of that. Remember also when we're putting things into the foam, we don't want any of the foliage in there. So I cleaned off below where I want it in my foam. Okay. And it looks like most all my foam is covered up here. So we're really just focusing on the back. So let me put a couple of these in and I will show you. The goal is really just to sort of fill up like this, the mechanics. It's not necessarily creating another pattern or anything like that. It's truly just to cover up our mechanics so that when it's on your table or if you happen to give it to somebody, you are not showing them all of your mechanics. All right. So this is my back. Now I do see there's a few little pieces up here and I do have some left. So I'm going to put them really short. Like that, I used all of my stuff. And then this one too, I'm really pushing it down there that it's just hiding that foam. So this is our finished product. Very springy, using our beautiful tulips and lots of other beautiful spring flowers. Thanks again. Any questions, give us a call. Otherwise, I hope to see you guys for the May box. Thanks.